Hello, confident cooks. I hope you're all doing fantastic. Welcome back. Hey, as you've noticed on the channel, we've been using quite a bit of apples to make quite a bit of delicious recipes, like these apple hand pies and the baked applesauce you saw. And today we're making some delicious apple galette in celebration of my upcoming 29th birthday, and I'm so glad and grateful to be able to share this amazing tasty recipe with you. So hey, let's get into it. We need 200 grams of spelt flour. Watch all the way through. I'll let you know why I'm choosing this flour instead of all-purpose flour. We're seasoning it with a quarter of a teaspoon of the cinnamon powder we made a couple of weeks ago and an eighth of a teaspoon of coarse kosher salt. Let's fold that in and set it aside to prepare our butter. Now we need 170 grams or 6 tablespoons of cold unsalted butter. Unsalted because we need to control the overall taste of our crust. Cold because we want our dough to come together nicely, because after making our dough we're going to put it in our refrigerator for about 30 minutes to an hour. Honestly, you can even make it up to a week or two in advance and put it in your freezer if you're going to leave it in for that long. We need to cut up our butter sticks into cubes so it's so much easier to be incorporated in our flour mixture. See, I'm going to be using my hands to rub the butter into the flour. If you have a food processor, you can do it all in the food processor. And don't do it too much because you do not want your dough to be tough. Now this will take a couple minutes. Just pulse it instead of putting it on the high zhuzh. That's the only way I can explain it on voiceover. Once our butter and our flour mixture has come together nicely, it's gonna look and feel like a sandy mixture. Now let's prepare the liquid component for creating our dough. We need 1 cold egg yolk, and after separating the egg, I'm gonna set my egg white aside, probably using my breakfast. You let me know in the comments below what you use egg whites for. I'm gonna put the egg yolk in a separate bowl. Into it, I'm gonna season it with 50 ml of raw honey so that the crust will also have a nice taste that complements the taste of the seasoned apples. And after that, I'm gonna add in water, which is 50 ml of cold water. Everything is gonna be cold here so that our dough is not quote-unquote shocked when it goes into the fridge. I am not a pastry chef, so that's my definition of that. Now, after whisking that in, we're gonna add in half a teaspoon of vanilla extract to cut down on the egginess from our egg, and pour that mixture into our flour mixture, our flour and butter mixture. If you're using a food processor, pour this liquid portion through the spout of your food processor and give it a few pulses until everything comes together and you can actually it actually has a nice hold to it. All right, and then after that you can put it on your work surface and knead it, but don't knead it too much because you do not want your dough to be tough. And after that, I'm going to wrap it in a cling film wrap and store it in our fridge so it can cool for about 30 minutes to an hour while I prepare our apples. And you'd ask why I used spelt flour. But hey, before I say how much I use spelt flour, be sure to subscribe because I upload weekly content for y'all. And also share this video. That would mean a lot to me. And give it a like if you're loving this content. Alright, we are using 3 honey crisp apples, which is 450 grams of cored honey crisp apples. And I'm going to slice those up into about 1/4 to 1/8 inch thickness. Too thick, they will become crunchy and they won't bake through. Too thin, they'll be too soggy and they will soggy up our dough. Now we're going to put all of that in a bowl and season it with some really delicious seasoning agents like some honey. 60 ml of raw honey together with 1/8 of a teaspoon of coarse kosher salt. Alright, we need some nutmeg, which would be 1/4 of a teaspoon. A little bit goes a long way when you use nutmeg. And 1/2 teaspoon of that wonderful cinnamon powder we made a couple of weeks ago. Be sure to check the links below so you can get a link to that. And 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract together with 1 teaspoon, 9 grams of cornstarch. Let's stir that up together and set it aside. Oh, don't forget the lemon juice. Why am I forgetting the lemon juice? 10 to 15 ml of lemon juice. That would really bring out the tartness in our apple mixture. Oh yes, I'm using spelt flour because it's nutty. It also has a nice earthy flavor. And to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, it's actually a lot healthier because it is ground with a bran layer, the bran layer of the wheat, which is absent in all-purpose flour. And y'all, it just looks better. You let me know if you've never used spelt flour before. Check the link in the description below so you can get your first stash of spelt flour and let me know how you like it. Is it your first time using spelt flour? Nah. We set our oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and we are rolling our dough. You notice that I floured the work surface before rolling the dough because I do not want the dough to stick to my board or your work surface. You also want to flour the rolling pin. You just want to flour everything, your hands, so that it doesn't stick to you. All right, I'm going to roll this dough to about 13 to 14 inches wide and transfer it to a parchment paper so it's easier for me to organize my apple slices before transferring everything to a baking sheet. Now, I don't know about you, but it is at about this time I'm gonna put on some music and lay these apples in such a beautiful design, however you prefer. You want to keep at least 2 inches of the edge so that it's easier to fold the edge in to the apples so that it can hold up the apples and all of those delicious juices during the baking process. I am stacking about 3 to 4 slices of apples and laying them in a nice round. Be sure to support the center of the galette. I placed 3 thin slices in there so that they would hold up the second inner layer of the apples. This to me is quite therapeutic. So you let me know. Actually, have you guys made galettes before? I would love to know. I want to know more about what recipes you'd like to see in 2023. You guys, we are 21 days away from crossing over to the New Year's and I'm so excited. So let me know what kind of recipes you'd like to see on this channel in 2023. After folding in the edges of our galette, we're going to add in 3 tablespoons of the leftover apple seasoning liquid because we do not want to lose that. That will actually help keep the apples moist but not too soggy that they fall through the dough. Alright, after transferring that to a baking sheet about 9 by 13 inch, let's prepare a glaze for our galettes because we're going for elegance here, okay? We need 1 whole egg and some coconut milk, which is 1 tablespoon of coconut milk. Be sure to check the link in the description below to my cookbook so you can make your own coconut milk. Alright, now let us use that nice brush and brush on some of that nice glaze on the edges of our galette and a light yet generous sprinkle of turbinado sugar. Some people also use sanding sugar. And I'm going to also add a nice sprinkle in the middle of that and a light sprinkle of coarse kosher salt to balance out the taste of sweet and salt. I'm adding in 5 thin slices of butter, the same butter we used to make the crust, and I'm going to bake this for 25 minutes. And while they're baking, it gives me enough time for me to clean up and get ready to start celebrating ahead of time. And let me show you what to expect next week. We're making some chocolate oatmeal pancakes. They're gluten-free, absolutely decadent. You guys are going to want this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So watch out for that. And let me show you how these apple galettes turned out, you guys. Ugh, this is so delicious right now. I just want to take a bite of it. But the apples are like hot molten and you need to allow this to rest for at least 30 minutes. It's still going to be warm enough, and watch out for my happy dancing hands. You should have seen the look on my face. And now that it's cold, you can serve this with some mascarpone. You can serve it with a nice scoop of your favorite ice cream. I'll go for vanilla so it doesn't offset the taste of the apples. And you guys know I'm gonna take a nice taste of this, probably take another slice. I'm gonna have this in peace. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next week for some chocolate oatmeal pancakes. Be culinary curious and cook something confidently. Take care. Bye.